So faith means everything that's happening is supposed to happen the way it's happening. There is a reason for it. There is a bigger play of karma. And when we look at karma in the bigger scheme of things, then we understand that yes, it could be part of the play. You know, when we look at one person, we only look at one life. We only look at 1 month or 2 months. This person is so good, but how come they're suffering from so much disease? But do we look at that person from the standpoint of many, many lives, many, many experiences, many, many things happening? No, we never. We look at the person and we judge, no, oh, why are they going through this? I should be God. I bet I could do something better than God. No. Faith is faith in that. Everything happens the way it's meant to happen. And that is true faith. And by the way, faith doesn't only mean that we have faith in God, but faith also means that God has faith in you. Means if God is giving you this trial right now, it's because God has faith that you can handle it. If God is giving you this, this issue, this situation, it's because God says, okay, you can handle it now. That the more we only get what we can handle. We never get in life what we can't handle. Because Bhagavan's grace and glory is that He makes us capable of taking on whatever is there. So Shraddha means this kind of faith. It's a very deep kind of faith. And the day that we have this kind of faith, we will never ever have to worry about anything. Because we know it is right, it is fit. And there's a universal intelligence that knows more than I know. Shraddha. But that faith has to be nitya yukta. It has to be steadfast. It cannot be off and on. Puja Guruji always uses this term and says that sometimes people look at God as their wish fulfiller. You know, if Bhagavan gives me this, I have full faith in him. But if Bhagavan didn't give me what I want, what happened to that Bhagavan? So when Bhagavan gives me what I want, we're on good terms. But the days when I don't get what I want, I lose faith. I don't know what's going on. Bhagavan, what is this? What's going on? This and that. So many things are going on in my head. So we take Bhagavan to be our wish fulfiller. But Bhagavan is not our wish fulfiller. God is our well-wisher. And there's a big difference. Wish fulfiller, it doesn't mean that he's going to fulfill everything that you and I want, but he will give what's best for us, our well-wisher. Just like parents are not wish fulfillers, they are well-wishers, right? Imagine if the parent was a wish fulfiller and everything the child wants, you give, you give, you give, you give. What would happen to that child? They would go crazy, right? So the parent also has to be the well-wisher. What is good for the child, give. When it's right, you give. That way also, my faith should be steadfast. Not that if I lose something, if I don't get something, my faith is broken. My faith should be so strong, that even if I don't get what I want, even if things aren't going my way, even if everything, the whole world is crumbling against me, still my faith is there. I know there's a reason, I know you're going to get me through this, and I know it's going to be okay. That's called faith. This is what faith means. When we have this unconditional love with supreme faith that's steadfast, that's called Bhakti. So you see how deep the word Bhakti can really mean? It's not just devotion as we call it. It's with so many ingredients in it. Those who have this bhakti, they are supreme. For me, they are best united with me. And so Bhagavan in this verse is as though praising those who are worshipping Saguna Brahma. Because when we have this kind of relationship of having faith or having love or having the steadfastness towards something higher, something bigger, that implies that there's Saguna Bhakti, that there's a relationship between God and the Jiva. So Bhagavan says these are best united with me. But then, now let me tell you about the other ones. So the other ones now are coming in the next verse.
Ye tvaksharamanirdeshyam avyaktam paryupasate sarvatra gamachintyancha kutasthamachalam dhruvam ye tvaksharamanirdeshyam avyaktam paryupasate sarvatra gamachintyancha kutasthamachalam dhruvam.
Continue to 4.
Sanniyam yendriyagramam sarvatra samabuddhayah te prapnuvanti mameva sarvabhutahite rataha Sanniyam yendriyagramam sarvatra samabuddhayah te prapnuvanti mameva sarvabhutahite rataha.
So here we read 3 and 4 together because the verb is actually in the 4th verse. So the other ones, the ones, tu means the other ones, the Nirguna Brahma, the ones who worship Nirguna Brahman. And what is this Nirguna Brahman? Akshara, imperishable. Anirdeshya means can't be described. Avyaktam, unmanifest. Paryupasate, those who worship this Supreme Brahman. And what else are the, how else do we indicate Brahman? Sarvatragam means all pervading. Achintyam, unthinkable. Kutastam means unchangeable. Achalam, immovable. Dhruvam, eternal. And how do they worship this Brahman? Sanniyamya indriya gramam. They restrain their senses. And sarvatra samabuddhaya. And everywhere they are always even-minded. Samabuddhaya. Te prapnuvanti. They attain me. Te mam prapnuvanti. They attain me. Eva. Sarvabhutahite rataha. The ones who rejoice in the welfare of everybody. So now, he's not really answering the question. But I'll tell you the answer. It will come up. He's saying now, okay, these other ones, this is what's happening to them. They are worshipping this Brahman, which has all these indicators. So first of all, as I told you, Brahman can't be defined. You can't really define Brahman. So the Brahman is indicated with these pointers so that we can sort of get a feeling of what Brahman could be. So first thing is, Brahman is avyakta. Avyakta means unmanifest. Unmanifest means it cannot be perceived by our senses, by our mind, by our intellect. It can't be perceived by any of these aggregate things. So why? Because all of this is the seen and Brahman is the seer. Remember, so if we talked about this before, and this will come in Atma Bodha also. Everything here is an object. The world can be divided into two, subject and object. Our rishis were so smart. They said, you take everything, it's just subject, object. Bus. You're the subject, leave all the object, and you're done. And if it were really that easy, we could have done it. We could have been realized if we really understand the implication of this. So he said, everything that's an object is not us, right? The body, the mind, the intellect, the ego, everything that's an object is not us, and that which is the subject is us. So that subject is unmanifest. Nothing can go there because it's the very subject. And because it's unmanifest, it's achintyam, it's unthinkable. You can't think of it because it's that which makes the mind think. I don't know if you got a chance to read Kenopanishad, but it says it's not the mind, but it's not which the mind thinks of, but it's that which makes the mind think. It's not which the eyes see, but it's that which makes the eyes see. So it's like if you have a flashlight. This example makes it a little easier to understand. You have a flashlight and there's a battery inside, and that battery enables you to put the flashlight everywhere. And everywhere you put the flashlight, you can see what's going on. You can see everything that's happening, right? And you show it to everybody and there's light. That mind is like the flashlight, right? And it's able to illumine the world. But now, can that flashlight illumine the battery? No, right? Because it's the battery that's empowering the flashlight, right? So consciousness is like that battery. It's like that which illumines the mind so that the mind can experience. So you cannot go to that because it's that which makes the mind think. It's that which makes the mind experience. So we cannot think about it because it enables us to think. It's like the battery. So because it is avyaktam, it is achintya. We can't think about it. And because we can't think about it, adirdesham, we can't describe it. We can't think about it, so it's so hard to describe. And as I told you, these pointers are just indicating it. You're going to tell me, well, it's hard to describe, so many descriptions right here. But it's indicating it because one of the saints and sages said, the minute you open your mouth, you've polluted Brahman. Right? Even the word Brahman doesn't touch Brahman. Right? Even if you say Advaita, non-dual, it doesn't even touch Brahman. That word doesn't even come near Brahman. The words tried to go there and they came back. In Taittiriya Upanishad it says that the words tried to go to get Brahman, but they turned back, they could not, they failed. Very, very poetic language in our Upanishads, but it just says that we really can't, that even the word Brahman doesn't touch Brahman. Even all these indicators don't touch Brahman. So anirdesham, you can't describe it. And because you can't describe it, then it must be something that's completely formless. It must be something that's formless, unmanifest, unthinkable. I can't describe it. It must be something that's completely just formless. It doesn't have any form, because usually when we describe something, it has some kind of form, some kind of name, some kind of thing that I can hold, but it must be formless. And because it's formless, it's sarvatraga, means it's all-pervading. Why? Because space is formless and it's all-pervading. So this Brahman is formless, so it must be all-pervading. Sarvatraga. And because it is all-pervading, then what else? It's achala. It's everywhere. It's immovable. What do you mean? Well, if it's everywhere, where is it going to move? You can only move if you're here. You can only move there if you're not there already. Right? Right? But this Brahman is all-pervading. So then is everywhere. So then how can it move anywhere? It says, achalam. It can't move. So then you say, okay, it's unmovable, then what else? Then if it doesn't move, then it's kutastha. It means that it's unchangeable. What do you mean? Well, when something doesn't move, how will it change? Right? When we leave food outside or fruit outside, what happens? It decays, right? Like especially we leave a banana outside and it becomes black and stuff like that. Or you leave an apple, it gets bad. So what do? We put it in the fridge. Why? Because it's kutastha. It's immovable, right? So the same way that if something is immovable, it cannot change. It can't change. There's no moving particles that will make it change. That's why people freeze things. They make them immovable so that it doesn't change, right? They freeze so many things now. Right? So many things they freeze. So it's immovable. And because it is immovable, it's unchangeable. And because it is unchangeable, it is dhruvam, it is eternal. They're like, is it over? So you see, these are the indicators of Brahman. But if you look at the verse, it's so beautiful how it's brought out, right? And because it's eternal, it's dhruvam, then that means it's aksharam, it's imperishable. You can't destroy it because it's eternal. So we're going from avyakta, it's manifest. It's manifest, therefore it's achintya. It's unthinkable. We can't think about it. And if we can't think about it, anirdesha. We can't describe it. And we can't describe it, it must be formless. And if it's formless, it's sarvatragam. It's all-pervading. And if it's all-pervading, it must be achalam. It must be immovable. And if it's immovable, then it must be kutastha. It must be unchangeable. And if it's unchangeable, then it must be what? Dhruvam. It must be eternal. And if it's eternal, then it must be akshara, imperishable. This is the Brahman. Now, what do you do with this Brahman? So he says, now the ones who worship this Brahman, how do they worship this Nirguna Brahman? Sanniyamya Indriya Grama. Means when we worship Nirguna Brahma, it's very different from when we worship Saguna Brahma. When we worship Saguna Brahma, we use our senses, our mind, our everything. When we're worshipping God in a form, we do puja, we use all the five senses. And in fact, puja makes sure that we use all five senses. That's why the form of God is dressed up or decked up in a specific way. That's why there's agarbati. That's why we hear the sound of the bell. That's why there's naivedyam. That's why we offer. Because puja makes sure that all our senses are used to worship God. And even if we don't do puja, then we still do japa. And even in japa, I'm still engaging my mala, and maybe I'm speaking and I'm saying a mantra and I'm still engaging. And even if I'm not doing japa, then I'm doing dhyana, wherein I'm thinking of a form and I'm going through that form and thinking how auspicious and amazing that form is. And it really is so helpful because I'm using my senses and I'm using my mind to worship the divine. But those who worship Nirguna, what happens? They have to say, I'm not this body, I'm not this mind, I'm not this intellect, I'm not this ego. They have to negate every single sense. They have to negate every single thing. And the way to arrive at that Brahman is whatever remains, that subject is you. So one is totally engaging everything, one is totally disengaging everything. this is how they worship. And we can imagine how hard it can be, because let's say now you're seeing me and you're seeing me with visual, audio visual, and I'm here and I'm moving my hands and I'm talking, and it makes it a little bit easier to pay attention. But if it was just audio, then what happens? It's kind of harder to pay attention, right? Just podcast or something, it's a little harder because there's no audio visual. Then what happens if it was just silence? What if I just came here and sat in silence and I said Bhakti Yoga? Feel it. Right? So hard. The more things we have, the more support we have, the easier it becomes to hold the mind. The less support we have, the harder it becomes. So for them, it's hard. It's really tough. This is how they worship. And what are the qualities? Sarvatra samabuddhaya. Means they're always equanimous. They're always even-minded. So they're not, they don't get sharp reactions to the world. What happens is sometimes something happens and we go like crazy. Oh my gosh, what do I do? This is happening, that's happening, and everything becomes so chaotic. These worshippers, they're very equanimous and poised and calm. And if anything happens, they don't react, they respond in an appropriate way, in the way that they need to respond. Because they know that the world is like this only. It's up and down only. One day, everything is amazing. And then the next day, kaput. I mean, you don't know how it changes. It changes so quickly. You and I think that everything is perfect. We're in the perfect scenario. Everything's going so well. And then what happens? We don't know. We really don't know. I go sit there in my desk and I plan my calendar till June, this, that. But you never know what happens. I think it was 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago. We have Bal Vihar on Saturdays, and so I went to the school, I went there. My teacher's class starts at 10 a.m., so I got there maybe 9:50 or so. The school was closed. The school was closed, and they said, "Oh, we can't let you in." I said, "But what do you mean? I mean, I have like 100 plus kids coming here." They said they were doing some, what do you call that? What is that spray that they're doing? They're spraying something in the building. It was the Rosh Hashanah. So the school was closed, so they decided to spray the whole building with something. So they said, we cannot let you enter. And so I'm there thinking, like, my God, you never really know. Yeah, you can plan, you can do everything, but you get there and you're like, what do you do? And you have all the kids coming. So we have to message and say, don't come to Bhavir, don't come to Bhavir. And the only thing we can do is samabuddhi. We just have to keep calm, Because if we get so affected by this up and downs in life, we're going to go up and down. And we won't be able to focus, we won't be able to concentrate. This path that we're all walking on is not easy. It's hard. But if we are able to maintain these qualities, it becomes easier. So samabuddhi means not getting too up and down by all the joy and sorrow that happens. Just accept it and respond in the appropriate manner. And sarva bhuta hite rataha. And this person who is practicing this nirguna worship, they are intent on the welfare of everybody. Which means that they don't have any personal agenda. You see what happens when you and I sit quietly? Sometimes we ruminate. Oh my gosh, if I made more money and if I increased my business, this would happen, that would happen. Or if I got more likes on Facebook and everyone liked my picture and this person saw it, then that would be great. Or there's so many things we ruminate over because we have all these desires happen. But if somebody is really intent on worshipping Nirguna Brahma, we can't have any desire for ourselves. Because it's a block. It's a block. Those desires are a block to go deep into that meditation. It will pull you out. It will say, you will say, Aham Brahmasmi, Aham Brahmasmi. It will say, oh, by the way, don't you want to do this today? Don't you want to go here today? It will pull you out. So this kind of temperament is necessary. So this worshipping Nirguna Brahma, it's not easy. It is made for those who are ready to give everything up and not intent on keeping that individual ego anymore. For Saguna Upasaka, it is like, they're still worshipping, it's still me, they're still God, and I'm still doing everything that I can. But for Nirguna, you have to lose yourself, you have to lose your individuality, everything has to go. So this is the difference. So we saw the difference between Nirguna Brahma, Saguna Brahma. We saw the difference between worshipping Nirguna Brahma and Saguna Brahma. So now Lord Krishna says, let me tell you why it's so difficult for those Nirguna Brahma worshippers. Let me tell you.
अव्यक्तासक्तचेतसाम्
अव्यक्ता हि गतिर्दुःखम्
अव्यक्ताधिगतिर्दुःखम्
देहवद्भिरवाप्यते
देहवद्भिरवाप्यते क्लेशोऽधिकतरस्तेषाम् अव्यक्तासक्तचेतसाम् अव्यक्ताधिगतिर्दुःखम् देहवद्भिरवाप्यते.
So he says, oh my goodness, Adhikatara, it's greater, the klesha, the trouble is way greater for who? Tesham, for those people who avyakta asakta chetasa, the one whose minds are set on this Nirguna Brahma. The trouble is way greater for them. Why? They say that avyakta gatihi dukkham means it's very hard to reach that Nirguna Brahma for whom dehavadbhihi avapyate. Means avapyate means it's very hard to reach for whom dehavad. The ones who are attached to their body, it's very hard to reach this Nirguna Brahma. What's the point that Lord Krishna is trying to make here? You see, somebody asked Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi once, does God have a form or not? And he looked at that person and he said, do you have a form or not? If you have a form, then God has a form. If you don't have a form, then God doesn't have a form. So why is it so hard? Because we think that, I've studied Vedanta for so long, now I'm ready to do this Nirguna Brahma Dhyana, and I'm going to sit and everything. We think that we want to do this Nirguna Brahma Dhyana, but we're so attached to our body still. If we're so attached to our body, how are we going to see God without a body? It's a big joke, right? We're still so attached to our bodily comforts. We sit down and we're like, okay, after my meditation, then I'll have my coffee. What then? We're already, when I sit down for meditation, I must have this pillow, this kind of pillow. And I must have this kind of agarbatti going on. And I must have this mat. Just sit down. We're still so attached to it. And the more that we're attached to this body, we saw this, those of you who were in the Bhaja Govindam class. The more we're attached to this body, what happens? Our life is gone. Because first of all, the body takes time. You know, the minute we wake up to the minute we sleep, how much time we spend on our body? Eating, we spend some 2 hours. Eating always some 2 hours. Because cooking, and then eating, and then washing, and then sometimes more than 2 hours. Right? And that's also the coffee breaks in between, the biscuit and all that. And some 3 hours will go only in eating. Then in taking shower and all of that, some 1 hour will go in that. Then in picking clothes, what to wear, which color, which shoe, which handbag, this matches that matches that. This sari I wore last week, I can't wear this week, this person's going to be there. Oh, 1 hour will go in that. Now you tell me now, where is the time? And then people will say, I don't have time to come to Vedanta class. Well, of course you don't have time to go to Vedanta class. Because where is the attention? It's all in this body. Everything is in this body. Right? Yesterday there was a Halloween parade in the city. Now everyone is just focused on their costume. What's my costume going to be? And what is this costume going to be? And thank God the chicks were like, yeah, we already have a costume for set. I'm like, thank God. I don't have any more work to do. You know, I had shared with you before, I think, that one of the kids in one of the camps, you know, when we were talking, it must have been 11, 12 years old, and I was telling him, okay, so you're not this body, you're not this mind. So he says, okay, does that mean in Halloween I don't have to wear a costume? And I said, yes! He said, because I already have a costume. So I said, good, you get it, very good. So much is just spent on this body. And not only that, I mean, then we start to shop for comforts, right? So I want this kind of car with the heat in the seat in the winter because I like to be comfortable. Or I want this kind of coffee mug that keeps the coffee or tea really, really hot for like 6 hours or 8 hours because I like that. So all our time goes in pampering the body and shopping for comforts. Then we want to meditate on this Brahman, which is Sanchit Ananda. I mean, it's a joke. It's a real big joke. Right? So Lord Krishna's like, hold on. Okay? Hold on. If there's still some body identification, just hasten slowly. Just take it easy. Just go step by step. Don't jump the gun and go right away and say, I want to do this. Right? First, let's prepare. Let's prepare ourselves well to go into this Jnana yoga. If that karma yoga, that bhakti yoga, worship of saguna is not done, worship of nirguna can't happen. So in this verse, is that so Lord Krishna saying, slow down. Be honest with yourself. You and I as seekers have to decide where we're at. And there's no wrong or right. There is no wrong or right. There's no like, okay, this is wrong, this is right. No. The best thing, Guruji said so beautifully, he said, what the seekers need to do is stop asking saguna, nirguna, saguna, nirguna. Fix your mind. Otherwise your mind is in a fix.